Namaskar. This is the second series of the lecture on Introduction to Computers. In the last lecture, we had discussed about what is computers, what are the advantages and disadvantages of using a computer, and we had started with classification of computers on different parameters. I had discussed about on the basis of purpose. It could be divided into general purpose and special purpose computers, and then we had discussed based upon the function. I told you about analog computers, digital computers, and hybrid computers. Now, before I go ahead, when you're talking of hybrid computers today, hybrid computers are coming a long way. There are different organizations which have started building hybrid computers. In space, working on simulation models, hybrid computers have found a long way. If I give you an example, Konkan Railways came out with a device which was developed in India, which was known as Railways Countex. Now, the job was to fit on the tracks, and it used to count number of wheels which are passing over that particular machine, because each train have a specific number of uh, engine and bogies, and once so each train would have a specific number of wheels. So it used to count number of wheels on which are passing over that device, and will not give a green signal to the next train till all number of wheels have passed over. So that has gone a long way when you're talking of safety, train safety, and the manual errors which were there, which were leading to train accidents, have minimized. Now, I will go ahead with the topic. Now, the another mechanism of when you're talking of classification based upon the size and capacity. Now, today, when you're talking, the computers can be divided into microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer, supercomputers, and a modified version is known as a laptop. Now, laptop obviously is a part of microcomputer as such. Now, when you're talking of a microcomputer is the smallest type of a computer that any individual will work upon. It is basically known as a personal computer, PC. Now, when you're talking of a personal computer, if you're talking of divisions inside microcomputer, that is based upon a microprocessor chip, Pentium. Now, Pentium is a microprocessor chip. Earlier, when it started with 8088, 8086, 80286, 386, and so on and so forth. New chips came into the market which are making computers lighter, more uh, stronger, and it is able to perform the calculation at a very faster rate. Now, when you go to the mini computers is basically a smaller version of a mainframe computer. It is able to provide a centralized computing facility. Number of microcomputers are attached to a mini computer, which can give a support as a CPU, which means the microcomputer does not require to have all components, which includes your large amount of memory or large amount of storage. Now that is housed in a mini computer, and large number of microcomputers, basically known as workstations, are attached to a mini computer. Now, mini computer will act as a CPU to all such microcomputers which are attached to a mini computer in a network. Obviously, once we go to the network, I'll take that up in detail. Now, when I talk about mainframes are a very large computers. Now, basically, when you're talking of a mainframe, in the mainframe computer which have been manufactured in India is has been named as Medha. Now, when you're talking of mainframe computers, if you're talking of application like airline reservation, where large number of computers, large number of people are able to book their tickets online. You go to a website, book a ticket, you are not required to go to a travel agent. Large number of travel agents, all of them are hooked to a single server of a particular airlines. Now, each one of them can book a ticket. Similar is the concept when you're talking of a train reservation. There are large number of stations, even a small village a person can go and book a ticket from any station to any station. It not necessarily from that station where he's booking a ticket. So when you're talking of a mainframe is a larger computer which are able to share the single CPU with large number of workstations. Then a modified version of a mainframe is a supercomputer. When you're working on a specific task, when you're talking of space monitoring, when you're talking of weather forecasting, you have to have the computer which is working 24 into 7. It is connected to large number of network computers. It is able to provide the data to all of them. When you're talking of supercomputers, again, in the supercomputer range which has been manufactured in India has been named Param series. Obviously, we have other such as Core, ETA, IBM 3090. These are example of other supercomputers which have been manufactured and give a large, I would say, large storage capacity and a very high processing speed to the computer which are attached to a supercomputer. Laptop, I told you, is a part of microcomputer. Basically, it is given as a separate because it is very light in weight, very easy to carry, and has a tremendous opportunity as far as computing goes. It provides versatility, it provides speed, it provides accuracy, and it can, when you're talking of laptops, they can be of a size of a palm. We have palm tops, very small size in size, very easy to carry anywhere, using internet, connected to the network and start working. So when you're talking of classification based on size and capacity, these are different types in which the computer can be classified. Now computers can also be classified based on technology used. If you're talking of for technology use, we have initial generation, first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation computers. To begin with, when it start with the initial development from 1642 to 1945, basically mechanical calculators were developed as a computing device. If I show, there are two different machines which are shown in the transparency here, which were basically very, I would say, age old type of computing. It was just a calculators. Now, initial development which led to the starting of computers, these were the machine which actually started when people started thinking about building a machine which could actually simulate human brain at a later stage. Now, first generation computers from 1945 to 1955, in 46, the first electronic computer called ENIAC, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Calculator, was developed by Eckert and Manucci at University of Pennsylvania. Now, if you're talking of this computer, a very vague diagrams are shown in the transparency. Single computer used about 18,000 vacuum tubes and cost was about $500,000. It used to weigh about 30 tons and occupied around 30 into 50 foot space, very large space. It because vacuum tubes are used, it used to generate very high amount of heat and were very slow in operation. So this was the first computer that was developed, but it was not very successful. Though it laid the foundation for modern day computer, it had to be closed because of one, it was very slow in operation, and secondly, heat. The heat that was generated, it required a very high atmosphere with very high cooling capacity, so that the heat which was generated by these vacuum tubes and if a single vacuum tube go down, entire computer went down. So that is why the first generation computers did not last very long. From 45 to 55, the first generation computers were there. When you go to the second generation computers from 1955 to 1965, vacuum tubes were replaced with transistors. Now, transistors were very good in providing a higher speed and performance, and as compared to the first generation computers, the size and the price and the heat which was being produced was reduced to a large extent. The size was reduced to a large extent, even heat that was generated, because transistors were able to sustain even a higher temperature, and was not generating that heat outside the computer. So from 1955 to 1965, we are talking about the second generation computers. When we go to the third generation computer from 1966 to 70, very small time, these transistors were replaced with integrated circuits. Now, when we talk about integrated circuits, if you see a diagram at the bottom of the screen, these show a integrated circuits, which was a fabrication of thousands of electronic components on a single silicon chip. Now, that is what is integrated circuits. Now, once the integrated circuits came into the market, it actually led to drastic reduction in the size of computers. Computers came on a table, started to be built on a table size. Speed and performance were very high as compared to the second generation, and the heat produced in the computers was further reduced. Then came the fourth generation computers from 1971 to 1980. Now, this generation ICs were replaced with large scale integrated circuits, LSI, more number of electronic components on a single chip, and the size of the chip was further reduced. As the size reduced, the cost went down. It was smaller in size. It became handy to carry a computer, high performance as compared to the third generation computer. Now then came the fifth generation, which is present day generation from 1980s till present. In this generation, large LSI or large scale integrated circuits were replaced with VLSI, very large scale integrated circuits. Cost and size of these computers were very less. Performance was very high. If you look at a today PC, very less heat is generated. Even if we are working without an air conditioner in a room, the computer does not go down. It is able to sustain. It is able to give you a large volume of data. It is able to cater to a large volume of data. It can store large volume of data, and the processing of the unit is very fast. It can work 24 into 7 in some cases, and is able to sustain uh, any kind of complex processing. Fifth generation also is now including artificial intelligence and robotics. Robotics and artificial intelligence is basically trying to replicate human brain into the machine, so that machine is intelligent enough to take decisions depending upon the data. Now, if you're talking about weather forecasting, the fifth generation computers are able to see the data and predict this kind of uh, a cyclone may hit a country at this time from this, and this will be the intensity. That can be decided in advance so that the government can take adequate measures. The areas can be evacuated. Now, artificial intelligence and robotics is what I would say is future also when you're talking of the computers. Now, coming to the application of a computer, the computers are finding their ways in different sectors: business and finance, medicine and healthcare, education, engineering, defense, music, and obviously when you're talking at home. When I say application of computers in business and finance, when you're talking of business, doing accounting, doing financial functions, performing balance sheet analysis, doing ratio analysis, minimizing tax liabilities, deciding on working capital requirements and how to meet them, all this work can be done on a single machine. When I go to medicine and healthcare, I had already discussed that when I was discussing classification of computers. In healthcare, computers are finding its way on a very large extent. Modern hospitals, we have computers taking care of patients 24 into 7. All vital parameters of a body are measured constantly and maintained in a digital diary of a patient. And in case there is any variation beyond a specific limit, life-saving medicines are automatically injected into the body even before a nurse or a doctor can attend to the patient. We come to education, large volume of data is available on education. We see online series, we see computers in classrooms, practical training. Engineering, when I talk to engineering, the computers have found their way in computer aided design known as CAD, computer aided manufacturing, CAM, And then we also have come across CAE, which is basically computer aided engineering. Now, which means designing of a product today using a computer, we are able to watch a product and also look at the various life cycles of a product in advance. Defense is finding their the computers are finding their way in defense. We are talking of smart robots, smart bombs. We are talking of smart missiles, and also anti-missile systems. Now they are all guided with the computer technology as at the back end, which is able to use there are missiles which can be programmed and which will go and hit a particular target. Now all that is maintained at back end using a computer. Music, yes, when you're talking of music, you can play synthesizer, you can play drums using a single stroke of a keyboard. At home, we all are using computers at home, be it gaming, be it using it in a microwave. When we say you want to heat a food, or any food stuff, once the food is heated, it automatically shuts down. Then you have electronic games, sending greetings, all the work that you do on a computer at home, preparing databases. So that is all when you're talking of computer applications in society. Thank you very much. In the next class, in the next lecture, I am going to talk about different components of the computer system, as taking into account input, output devices, and processing unit, and then we will take it forward. Thank you very much. Namaskar.